representing Savage Breakup, we have Jaclyn, Nora, and Sarah. Nora Smith, Jaclyn Vogl, and Sarah, will you pronounce your last name for me?
It's Slywchuck.
Representing Quiet on Set, such an intense film. Joining us from Indiana, we've got Rani, Crowe. Joining us from so far away here in Las Vegas, we have Christine Turner, apparently a former student of mine. And her wonderful student film is called Dip. Hi, Christine. Hi. I remember it was an online class. Yes, I remember. You're a very good editor. Yeah, I remember. And then we have a gang of very talented actors from Honeycycle. So we have Yudelka, first of all. Yudelka,
hi.
From New York. And then we have Claire-Monique Martin. And Claire is actually not liking it in London, but is joining us from London. I'm very envious. And we have Barbara Bernardi. Hi, Barbara. We have Alana DeGregorio.
Yeah, that's perfect. Hi.
Hi, Alana. And then last but not least, we have
Barbyly.
Barbyly Noel. Okay. And I think I've covered everyone, right? I've introduced everyone. So I'm just going to start with the usual what inspired you type questions, because I think why not? That's always a good place to start. So let's start with Roshni with Celebrity Stalker. Now this is your second film with us. I remember you were with us last year. So tell us about Celebrity Stalker.
So after I graduated from film school, I started making short films, horror short films. And I wanted to put together a crew that I could keep collaborating with every project after that. And so I met Virginia in film school, and I met a few other friends in film school, like my DP Carlos, and like a friend Jonathan, who does everything on set. That's why we gave him the creditor of engineer. And we worked together on various horror projects, and Celebrity Stalker was the last one we did before the lockdown. We filmed that last year in January, and that was simply inspired by the zeitgeist of social media, Instagram, and that is why I was speaking with Virginia, her experience with TikTok and Instagram, because she's also we both are very savvy with what goes on, and we are thinking, because we wanted to take a horror twist with what goes on with the stalker culture. And so we came up with the concept of, what if there was a celebrity stalker who broke into the houses of elites, recorded herself, but along the way she picked up her own stalker. And so that was basically the whole film about. It was a build up to the point that she starts realizing that she's being followed now, and now she's being stalked. So that was something. Virginia, if you want to add anything.
Yeah, please do, Virginia.
Well, yeah, it was definitely inspired by the culture here in Los Angeles and what we experienced with our own eyes, definitely. And I think you did a great introduction, Roshni, so great. But yeah, it's definitely about the stalker culture and about how things can get out of hand and how not everything looks as it seems.
Yeah, it was spooky, for sure. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we'll come back to you with some follow-up questions there about that. I would like to ask the same question to Jaclyn, Nora, and Sarah about Savage Breakup.
I think that Nora should answer.
Okay.
I accept my nomination. I think the greatest thing that made us inspired the very beginning of Savage Breakup was our desire to work together. And so Sarah, Jackie, and Melissa Paulson, who can't be here tonight, and I wanted to start making films together. And so That was the very first seed. And then we all wrote individual scripts that we thought maybe would be something we could film together. And mine was the one that we chose to start with. And so Savage Breakup came from that, combined with my, I don't know, fandom of the Savage Love cast and Dan Savage. So that's that love child.
Okay, and I'm going to come back to you with a follow-up question on that. And then Rani in Indiana, tell us about Quiet on Set.
Hi, yeah, Quiet on Set. I mean, it was essentially my response to the Me Too movement and all of the things that were happening. And it took a while. Like, I knew I wanted to respond to it, but I didn't know how. And so there were so many things that I had read about. Intimacy coordinators were becoming really big, and there was always this story about Last Tango in Paris with Bertolucci and Maria Schneider, and there was just story after story after story after story that I had read. And then when the hearings for Kavanaugh, and Christine Blasey Ford was testifying, I was just, not that it's, obviously I pull from, like, everything kind of pulls in and it becomes this thing that juxtaposes, but I was fascinated with this woman testifying and the discrepancy people believed had happened. And so basically Quiet on Set is taking this moment and how do you build as much conflict and tension into this idea is assaulted. Everybody's there, they're filming it, they're seeing it, they're capturing it, people are watching it on the movie, but still nobody thinks it happened, right? And so that was the moment that I was she's the only one, because it was under a blanket, and because even though there were protections in place, and it's the whole idea of consent, right? She had consented to do a sex scene, she had consented to do a movie, but there was a contract and it was all what was supposed to happen, and still something happened. And so that was kind of what I was trying to create. And then also, just how much we all contribute to this as the consumers, as the consumption of sex on screen, and, our own participation in it, and the bystander. And so I'm trying to do it in 8 minutes, but that's essentially what I was trying to create.
Wasn't it the one character who did sense that something terribly wrong was happening? Wasn't that the script supervisor?
Yeah, the script supervisor.
That's a theme of our festival this weekend, is cheering on the script supervisor. Okay, so we have I'm going to return to you also with follow-up questions. Okay, Christine, tell us about, I know this was your senior project at Nevada State College. You were probably working with Professor Davis,
yes.
Right?
Yes. Well, I guess the movie could be maybe like a note to my 20s and the need that we have for companionship, whether it's romantic, our friend, or just someone to be around. And I am so tired of just simple endings and happy endings and good and bad being black and white.
Yeah.
I definitely wanted to see the audience cheer for possibly the bad guy, but then the bad guy's the good guy. So I like to just discuss the lines and make stories in the gray area.
And you did. Yeah, no, there was a lot of gray area there for sure. And yeah, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Okay, and then Yudelka.
Hi.
Tell us about, I know, and I feel like there's a similarity between Honeysuckle and Savage Breakup in that it's mostly taking place in one room. But that doesn't in any way diminish from its power. So tell us a little bit about how that came to be with Honeysuckle.
Originally I wanted to create a story, like a conversation. I wanted to have exactly that. When I developed the script, I didn't want to like to go into flashbacks or see one more women being beat up on in front of a camera. I wanted to have this conversation, and I wanted the audience to sit down and listen to this aftermath, because we always we tend to be so judgmental to sometimes people that are going through this, especially to women. And for me, as a domestic violence survivor, I wanted to explore what I went through at some point in my life when I was going through that situation in my life. I heard so many things, but I only knew what was happening with me. So as an artist, you write about what really bothers you so much, and what you really want to bring out there, and and I wanted to have that, and I do think I really thank the amazing cast that we have on board, that really made it happen, because it was exactly that. They couldn't be better, and I really thank each one of them for really carrying on with a message.
And we have a number of your cast members here joining us, and maybe we could just hear from everybody to just, say a little bit about your character. And then also we have Mirla joining us. Mirla, I'm not sure which film you're with.
Honeycycle.
It's Honeycycle. All right, so we'll get to you then, but let's hear from we've got Claire-Monique, Barbara, Alana, Barbyly, and Mirla. So let's hear from maybe get a word about the character that you portrayed with Honeycycle. Should we start with Claire-Monique?
Yeah. Gosh. So Raina is basically the counselor of this group that is happening at present, and I don't want to give any spoilers away, but she knows a little bit more than you're led to believe at first. And what drew me to the script was that it's very easy to have a counselor who can go, who is way too sympathetic and is almost like gushing over the characters. What I loved about Yudelka's writing of Raina was that she's very calm and she's very in the moment, and I wanted to portray that. And having Yudelka as the director and the writer, it was just a joy. The whole experience was an absolute joy, and like Yudelka said, you couldn't have a better cast, and we became a family at the end of it. So I'm very humbled and honored to have been a part of this experience.
Thank you. Yeah, I remember your character was the therapist. Yeah. How about Barbara?
The character that I portray, her name is Monica. She basically embodies the first step of grief, which is denial. She is in denial of what happened to her. She's in denial that her best friend, who became her lover, would hurt her in this extent. And she's basically going to this therapy session because of her parents. And at the beginning, she feels she isn't supposed to be there. She's just doing it because she was told to. But once she starts rambling about her situation and she starts opening up, slowly she realizes, oh no, maybe I'm supposed to be here because everyone is listening to me and everyone gets where I'm coming from. And the longer that she listens to all these different stories, she realizes that she's connected to all these women in a certain way. And that's how I felt also in the moment with the character, and with all the conversations that I had with Yudelka about her and her development, that during the session, she gets humbled about everything and realizes, okay, maybe I do have a problem, and it's okay that I have this problem, to be open about it, and that it's not okay what happened to me. And it was a very fun character to portray, because she has that flip
Yeah.
And it was a challenge, but I love a challenge, and it was so fun, and I'm so happy that Yudelka casted me for the role, and I'm very grateful for it.
Yeah, I really have to say, what a tremendous group of I don't know if you prefer actor or actresses, but what a tremendous acting team. It was all on the characters really were just each very well developed in the short amount of time. We got their backstories, we understood why they were there. Really well done with that, with the writing and the direction and the acting. Barbyly, would you like to tell us about your character?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I play Josephine in Honeycycle, and Josephine is, your traditional, woman, and she was raised by two loving parents. She had a pretty good upbringing, and she got married, and found herself in this situation. And horrific, domestic violence experience that she had, she ended up losing her baby. And I think all of that caused her to just distrust everyone. And, coming to the meeting was a huge deal to her, because she even says it, you don't tell anyone what you're going through. You keep it in, and you put on a happy face, and, you keep pushing. And so coming into this meeting was a huge step for her. And then even then sharing her experience with everyone and feeling vulnerable and even trusting enough to share what happened to her was a huge step. And I think that was, just releasing that for Josephine, releasing that trauma or that experience, and being able to share her story, something that women like her typically don't do, was something very, very huge. So it was an honor to be able to, kind of fill in those shoes and see, where I fit in and how I can add, to her. And I had an amazing time, portraying her and being alongside the rest of the cast. So truly an honor.
Thank you for that. I have to say that hearing you all talk about your characters, it's almost, I know you all are really well-trained actors, because it's almost like you're talking about yourselves. You've really, internalized these characters. It's very, very interesting, because as me as not an actor, to kind of hear your process with that, it's really interesting. Mirla, welcome. Yeah, we'll come back to you. So we're gonna go back to Roshni and Virginia and Celebrity Stalker. For such a great title. Tell us about the actress that you cast as the Celebrity Stalker.
The actress, so my boyfriend, who's also my co-producer, we were at this production doing photo shoots for these models, and they had like in-house photographer came in and out, and the friend who called me there, I asked him, like, do you have any models who would be willing to act, because I have the script and I'd be really interested in just casting somebody. And so I met Inya, who was super passionate about what she was doing, and I asked her, would you be interested in acting? Have you done any acting? She's like, yeah, I have an agent, let's stay in touch. I followed her on Instagram, and she has a great portfolio on Instagram, so it almost feels like she's an influencer and she knows what she's doing, and she would relate a lot to the character we had developed for the character in Celebrity Stalker. And so I called her up, I told her send me a self-tape, and we were already auditioning other people, and she sent in her audition, and she was she just had her iPhone and she was so candid throughout. Like we gave her a side. She's walking around the apartment, picking up items, and it just felt like she created this character just from reading the dialogue, and she knew exactly what I had in mind without us having a concrete conversation of, oh, this is how the character is or whatever. She came up with it by herself.
Wow.
And she was just so raw and so natural. And I showed it to Virginia. We both were like in love with it right away. And we were like, let's do this. And so it's very rare when you end up finding an actor or an actress who is, you click right away before even looking at other options. And so we met with Inya, we had a meeting. And then next thing, we were shooting in Hollywood Hills. And from there on, it was all Virginia handling the responsibility with the house and the rooms and making it look fancy and everything else. But it was really straightforward, I think.
I loved her wig too.
Yeah.
Wig, yeah.
I don't know. Virginia, where did we get the wigs from? Did we have somebody bring it? I don't know if India brought it in.
Yeah, you had one, you had 2 wigs, right? 2 wigs.
Yes, we had several other colors too. Yeah, we actually got them for production. And India had like an amazing like wardrobe in general. So we had her send over pictures, and she just sent over pictures, wigs and everything. And we said, you know what, bring everything. And that's how we did it.
And sometimes it was a bit awkward because once we were done filming a take, like it would be a long take and it would turn out amazing, she would come up to me and say, do you have any notes? And I'm like, no. And she just had the straight face. And I'm like, I'm not trying to please you. I really like it. I have no notes. Just do what you're doing. And then, but it took a while because I'm used to giving like, oh, how about your character tries something differently? And then, but she nailed it.
Yeah, she was really lovely to work with.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Mirla, I see that you are unmuted now. Welcome.
Yes, thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm very excited to be part of this film because initially I was not in the cast, and I happened to met Yudelka many years ago, and then we didn't see each other until that night that we had gone for a reading for usually another film. And then we reconnect, and she mentioned she was filming this beautiful film, and then she added this character, which is Cynthia, and I'm playing an Islamic lady. And that was my first time going to the meeting, my character, and I was very traumatized by what happened to me that I just couldn't really express myself much. And because also at home, as Cynthia was, she was raised in a very strong men-dominant community where her voice was never heard. And she's going through this transition where she's like starting to say her first word, but it's been very difficult for her to do this because she has been always told that her voice is not being heard, that she doesn't need to talk, she has no opinion at home. So it was a very special moment for me, and to see everyone in the cast, like I enjoyed the process a lot. Yeah, and I enjoy so much being directed by Yudelka.
You're getting a lot of love, Yudelka.
Oh, thank you so much. we also have Alana DeGregorio.
Oh,
from
that's
Honey.
great. Oh, Alana, I'm so sorry.
I was hiding for a minute. I
I'm
was just hiding.
sorry. Forgive me.
I haven't been on any of these in a long time.
Yeah.
I want to second that though. Yudelka really, like, I've worked with her quite a few times now, and she really pours her heart into everything she does. She pours, like, working with her is a completely different experience than working with anyone else. I play Rose, and Rose has been to hell and back. She's been to the meetings. She hasn't been to these meetings in particular, but she's heard the same crap over and over and over again. And she's sick of, hearing the frequently asked questions. Did you call 911? Did you, ever think of getting help? And it's, it's, again, she really turns on the counselor and really starts grilling the counselor on what are we really supposed to do? We could talk about it. We could sit here and talk about all our problems, but what happens when we leave this room? What can we really do to save ourselves? But yeah, and what I particularly love about this film and the way Yudelka not only wrote it, but also directed it, is everybody takes their time. I'm so used to playing like really farcical comedies that are just like, I'm not used to anything like this. So this is really out of my, what I'm used to.
Yeah.
But everybody, it's the complete opposite. Everybody takes their time. We really listen to each other. There's nothing that's left unheard. There's nothing that's glazed over. Everything from everyone is heard and included. And I think that's what made this film in particular so important. So yeah, I love you, Yudelka. You're awesome.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Alana. Okay, now I would like to go back to Jaclyn, Nora, and Sarah, and whoever would like to answer this. I'm probably Nora. I don't know. Anyone who would like to answer this. And I've been dying to ask this question since I saw your film, but has Dan Savage seen it? Of course he has, right?
I don't know.
Did you send it to him?
Yeah, we sent it to him. We got Nancy's permission to use her voice so they know it exists. We tweeted it at him. We emailed them. I don't know. No response.
No response.
Everybody tell him. Tell him.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about him, but I know enough, and watching the film, yeah, and I don't, obviously we don't want to give any spoilers here. I mean, assuming everybody has seen these films, but it's just a very great twist in your film, and yeah, so Dan Savage needs to see it. It's great publicity. Okay, and then let's see. I would like to return to Rani. Quiet on Set. Now, you mentioned, in your introduction, talking about the film and your genesis of creating it. You talked about Me Too. You talked about Kavanaugh, Justice Kavanaugh, and that whole period of time, which was unbelievable, when he was being questioned and still got into the Supreme Court. You also mentioned Last Tango in Paris. Do you want to fill in maybe some of our younger viewers who might not be up on, as much as you want to go into that? That's the very famous Marlon Brando film.
Sure. Last Tango in Paris, it was 70s maybe. I'm not great with dates. It was rated like X when it came out. It was like it's a very sexual film about this sexual relationship. It's Bertolucci, Brando.
Yeah.
It's film, for it's high sexual content and really done. It was one of the first, I think it was actually, Academy Award nominated films for film rated, like film.
It was rated X, wasn't it? Like X-rated?
Yes, it was X-rated when it came out. So Maria Schneider, who was the actress, who passed away in the last several, not so long ago. I'm where I get like anything that's happened on Gate or so feels like yesterday to me. So I'm not great with dates. And then Bertolucci passed away, I think, even more recently. So the highly sexualized film, there's a lot of sex scenes. Maria Schneider was in the film. She had agreed to all of this. She's performing with Marlon Brando. But there was a scene in particular where Bartolucci had told Brando to do something which involved putting butter and putting it up inside of her, but didn't tell her because he wanted to capture the surprise on her face when it happened. He wanted it to feel. So this is the famous story, you know, that it has been passed on. And after that film, I mean, there was in a few things, but she really wasn't. She was kind of like the whole process. It kind of destroyed her a little bit. I mean, it really did not. You know, she was not super emotionally healthy after the whole experience, and her, you know, she didn't get tons of work. Meanwhile, the film is claimed as you can find it everywhere. It was Oscar nominated. Totally didn't hurt the men's careers at all. And you know, and I think Bartolucci died like in the last year or two, like right after the Me Too stuff. So it was definitely something that came out. But so even in the color coding of the film, like I looked at a lot of like that film in particular, and I'm a Taxi Driver and films of a particular era, you know, sort of was looking at that as far as like the film within a film to kind of capture that sort of sensibility. But there's so many other stories, and you know, they range from stories like that to subtler things and just actresses pressured to do more and more because of the time crunch on set, and you know, not being protected in situations, and just things that you know, many different variations of things that have happened that are out there. So there's tons of stories, you know, and you can find them if you start looking. Luckily, we're moving towards, you know, having intimacy coordinators on set. And, you know, that was one of the challenges for us, was how to make a movie about this while also creating a safe space and not create a situation where anybody would feel, you know. So one of the things that we underestimated is, yeah, we were so careful about our actress, and we had an investigator, and we limited who was on set, and we did all these things, and there were still things that we just didn't think about. Like we honestly didn't think as much about how difficult it might be for the male actor to be playing a violator, or you know, to be like he would be. And that was something. And then we also, in trying to get a DIT, visual imaging technician, we didn't think about who was going to be in the footage at first, and so we ended up having to I ended up handling all the footage on set until we handed it off to the director and kept it with all, because, you know, we were kind of in a campus situation where we had people that were former students and had former different social relationships. So it got a little complicated as far as, you know, we tried to keep the set very safe and have a really good energy on set and have everybody very protected. But as much energy as we put into that, there were still things that we learned in the process to be more careful about, to make everybody felt good about what was happening.
Well, thank you for bringing this to our attention. This, you know, bringing it more to our attention with this film. And so I can't believe how fast this went. I'm actually getting the message that we have only just a couple of minutes left. So I want to make sure we get to Christine, who I know has to leave, but I just want to hear, well, we all have to leave actually, but I'd like to hear if anybody would like to jump in and tell us, you know, what you're up to next. What can we look forward to from any of you? You know, Christine, since you would be next if we were going for another several minutes. Yeah, do you want to?
Well, the next project that I'm going to be focusing on is going to be a documentary on plastic surgery. You know, just being a Vegas local and now working in, you know, the dancing industry, modeling industry, and even the casino jobs, you know, there's a certain look standard that, along with social media, has morphed all of our minds, but there's so many stories to plastic surgery. You know, it's not all, you know, big boobs and big butts. Sometimes it has deep psychological issues. And I want to talk about that and, you know, the negative aspects, but also, you know, like mommy makeovers and certain things that the media, we can help these images and help women, especially men too, but especially women, feel better about themselves.
And I'm just real quick, I hope you also address women aging and how, yes, women have, how, not just in front of the camera, but just in our society, how much pressure there is on women to stay young. Yudelka, Jaclyn, anyone would like to chime in? What are you up to next?
Next, in post-production with this See You Later, actually a short film that Bernardi wrote, and I directed and produced, and we both produce it. And we are in post-production, and it deals with mental health. And also a feature film in which I'm acting in Victor Diaz, which is the director of photography and producer of Honey Psycho. He directed it, and I'm starting on it. So 2 post-production projects, and developing more and more work as we go.
Awesome. Anyone else want to share?
Savage Breakup is or Savage Breakup. It's late in Toronto. Hysterical Hearts is in post-production for its second short film together, which is called Closure. It's about loss and dealing with the loss of 2 sisters, they're losing their mother. And that is a script Sarah wrote, and Sarah and I are acting in that one, and Nora took on the director's hat for that. And we're also in pre-production for a short film working title right now called The Wolf Project, and Melissa and Sarah are writing that, and Melissa and Nora are going to be in front of the camera, and Sarah and I will be co-directing that one. And that one deals with the cages we face specifically as women through all of the ages of our life, and kind of unleashing these inner wolves that we all have, and dealing with the cages that keep us from being those wolves.
That sounds fascinating. All right, I am getting like the extreme, we got to wrap it up. So this has been incredible. I really enjoyed talking to all of you. I feel like I got to know you all a little bit, and thank you so much for joining us, for opening the festival. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Take
you.
care.